Hi everyone, this is Sanjana from Mockat and continuing this new Ask Us Anything series where we aim to answer any questions that you have about MBA, about CAT, about IIMs beyond just the prep. Today I'm going to be talking about a question which has come up so many times, whether you go on to the Mockat site or our YouTube comments or places like Quora, other websites. There's a very common doubt that people have that, hey, if my profile is not great, can I still get into an IIM or another top B school? So in this video, I'll answer just that question. Now, there are three things which come up if I break this question into parts. Typically, what you want to know is what is a good profile? How important is it for MBA? And after you understand that, how can you build your profile? Now, the general perception of a good profile is that a student has to have great academic scores, work experience. A lot of people have heard about this. You have to have a minimum work experience of 2 years, or if not that, at least you should have multiple internships, life projects, some sort of industry interaction. You should have showcase leadership. So whether it is initiatives that you've taken part, maybe you've led a particular fest in your college, maybe you're part of some committee or club, or maybe part of the NCC or something of that sort, and you need to have a lot of awards and achievements, what we call extracurriculars, right? And somewhere I think a lot of it also comes from the fact that if we look at overseas B schools, say Ivy League B schools or any B schools which are at par with IIMs or better than IIMs, the profile, your essay, all of these are things which they really look at. But when it comes to doing an Indian MBA, let's understand how important these are. So by MBA, I'm considering IIMs as well as other top B schools. Again, here I'm looking at the top 40 or top 50 B schools, which are the best in the country. You have 100% placements, 100% bank loan, and your average starting salary is somewhere in the 12 to 35, 36 lakhs per year. So of all of these things, the parts which will be really helpful or which are advantages for us for either the shortlisting or the final selection include great academic scores and work experience, right? So typically anywhere up to 4 years for a regular MBA. Things which are definitely good to have include, some form of internship or some industry interaction, even if it is life projects, leadership, which I already spoke about, or some form of awards or achievements. But when it comes to what you must have, actually none of these are an absolute essential for you to crack it. Can you get to IIMs or other top B schools without having any of these? Yes, not all, but many of them. So to understand why that is the case, and if that is the case, why people worry about profile so much, let's understand a little bit more about what is it that IIMs and other B schools look at. So when we look at IIMs or other top B schools, typically the selection happens in two steps. One is your initial shortlisting, and then you have your final selection. So what's important for your initial shortlisting? The most important will be your CAT score. That's for IIMs and many other top B schools. And it could also be some other entrance tests like XAT or SNAP for, again, for other top B schools. Along with your CAT score, other parameters which may or may not be considered include academics, your 10th, 12th and college, work experience, diversity, as well as certain other factors such as any certifications like CA, where your college stands, things like that. I've already put up videos going in depth into these, so I'm not covering it here, but I'll link those for you in the description if you want to understand more. After the shortlisting is done and you've been called for the final selection, here what becomes really important is your personal interview score. For majority of B schools, this is what has the highest weightage in your final selection. Along with that, institutes might have a written ability test, CAT, XAT, INMAT, SNAP scores, or a composite score, which is what IIMs calculate based on your CAT score and some of these other points which I've mentioned in the shortlisting criteria. And along with that, there could be other points. So some IIMs have extempore, for example. Symbiosis colleges have something called group exercise. Your FMS has, a discussion on the SOP. So these are things again which could come up in your final selection. But the good thing is, what's most important for IIMs or other top B schools is your CAT or your other entrance exam score or percentile and your personal interview score, right? And that's good because these are the ones which are under your control. You might not be able to control your academics. Maybe, if you're in your final year, you could just impact the scores of your 1 or 2 semesters. You either have work experience or you don't have. You either get diversity points or you don't. But your CAT, your personal interview, your written ability test, these are the parts which are upcoming and you can work. And if you want to focus on these and get through a top B school, jump onto mockcat.com, links in the description. There's a lot of free content which will help you for CAT. And if you want to just, go for it, prep with 99.9 plus percentilers, you can just look to sign up and start your prep right away. But coming back to this, if we look at the IIMs themselves, more than 50% IIMs are considering only the CAT score when it comes to shortlisting you at this point. And except for two IIMs, the weightage for your CAT score is 50% or higher everywhere. I've not included IIM Mumbai over here because let's wait and let's find out what the process is going to be the coming year. But given this, more than half the IIMs are only considering the CAT score. And along with these IIMs, we also have XLRI Jamshedpur, which will shortlist you based on your XAT percentile, 16 Symbiosis institutes, which will shortlist you based on your SNAP percentile, and NMIMS institutes, which will consider only your NMAT score, your overall score, as well as your sectional score. And in fact, NMIMS institutes, they don't even give a lot of importance to your interview or your ACADS or work experience in the final selection. Again, there the weightage of your NMAT score is really high. So even if your academics are not great, maybe you're a fresher, whatever it is, you have a lot of top B schools where you still have a good chance. You have as good a chance as everyone else. And again, if you want to make good of this chance, you want to get into a top B school, you want to wipe the slate clean, doesn't matter if your ACADS are not great, and you want to prep with 99.9 plus percentilers and ace any of these exams, start off your prep on mockcat.com right away. So now one of the things that you might be wondering is, if so many people are talking about a profile, now where does it come in? Where is it going to actually help us? So the two main places include your personal interview process, which is in your final selection. Because of course, if you have good ACADS, it's something which you can talk about. If you have work experience, internship, certain initiatives that you've taken, all of these can become points that you can answer. So if I'm asking you something like, tell me a challenge you faced, tell me something you're proud of, tell me something you've been successful, tell me somewhere, where you've displayed leadership. All of these will, of course, lead to answers. Another thing where it will be really useful is once you've started your MBA and you have your summer internship. So that's something where the process will start, a few months after you get in. And here again, having a good profile, being able to have a lot of points on your CV will help you to get shortlisted and in the interviews for SIP. So this is where a good profile will come in. So always remember, even if you don't have a great profile, one, focus on the things which are under your control, such as the entrance exams, the personal interview after that, and use this time that you have to build a profile. And I'm going to be putting up a detailed video tomorrow about building your profile, or if you're watching it later, we'll put that in the description as well, so that you can understand what are some of the things that you can do to build your profile. I mean, we can't change our academic scores much, but there are definitely a lot of things which we can do. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. So stay tuned, definitely subscribe if you haven't, and any questions that you have beyond your prep, put it in the chat and we'll do our best to answer it as soon as possible. All the best.